And when we're spending time fighting the mix, worrying about if we have enough credits, if we have enough clout, we miss those opportunities. And ironically, those are the things that end up holding us back in the long run. Today we're going to have a video that's a little different. One that isn't really focused on demonstrations, plugin or processing talk, or aha takeaway moments, but rather as we close in on the end of the year and a time for reflection, discussing some things that feel really near and dear to my heart and things that I either wrestle with or keep at the forefront of my mind every day when approaching mixing. These are things that aren't as easy to solve as swapping out a plugin because they really deal with us, our mindset, and our level of confidence. So I want to discuss some of the things that can easily hold us back from becoming the greatest version of ourselves as a mix engineer. The first is proving instead of listening. Great mixes aren't built trying to prove yourself inside of it, but rather they're built by listening intently to the material inside the song. A lot of times what I felt I was doing was trying to feel worthy or like I deserve to be told that I'm putting out good mixes before I claimed or owned the fact that I am capable of producing mixes that artists really enjoy listening to.
We're not worthy! You're worthy, get up!
The second big mistake I made is trying to force a mix as opposed to looking for ways to remove resistance. A lot of times we slave over mixes and we carry that as a badge of honor. Like the longer it took or how many plugins we used is really the sign of whether or not we put a lot of work and effort in. And oftentimes it's a sign that we're not listening to our instincts, and the harder we're pushing is taking us further and further away from the results that we're looking to achieve. The third thing is chasing the approval of others before trusting your own taste. I would watch endless amounts of YouTube videos, try to read every single book I could get my hands on that had discussions regarding audio engineering, would watch interviews with mixers, would reach out to mixers, and just constantly keep trying to absorb more and more and more information, thinking that is what was holding me back. Until I realized that breakthroughs don't come from concepts alone. Breakthroughs come from an identity shift and also a commitment to what it is that you're doing. Nobody can make you feel worthy other than you. Until we realize that maybe we've seen enough tutorials, that we've digested enough information, that we're going to continue to feel that we are not worthy or deserving of being able to put out a great mix. And that's simply not the case. Early on, we view our tastes as weakness, and they're not weakness. It's our identity. And another big mistake that I made was associating other engineers, the engineers that I aspire to, who they currently are, to my becoming. And here I am considering myself a work in progress, trying to hold myself to the standards of what these mixers have fully turned themselves into. So understand the fact that your taste is not a weakness, but one of your greatest assets.
Oh my God!
The next issue that I fell into is rushing instead of stopping and paying attention. And by rushing, I don't mean rushing through the work that we're doing, rushing the timeline of evolving. I felt that because I came to audio engineering late, having been in bands for many years, not going to school for audio engineering, not really even understanding much, that I was coming very late to this party. And initially, I went into a mad dash to try to absorb as much information as I could and just blindly apply that to whatever mixes or recording sessions I was working on, because I felt that I needed to play catch up. I didn't have the big studio internships. I didn't work under great mixers. I didn't go to Full Sail or another accredited mixing or audio engineering university, and felt that I needed to find ways to rush my own timeline. And all that did in hindsight was hold me back, because what I wasn't doing was paying attention. See, every mix that we do is trying to teach us lessons. Every problem we encounter is a lesson. And when we're spending time fighting the mix, when we're spending time worrying about if we have enough credits, if we have enough clout to land bigger clients, we miss those opportunities. And ironically, those are the things that end up holding us back in the long run and separate the great mixers from the mix engineers who really simply cannot get out of their own way. So what I would say to do is, whenever you're feeling anxious, whenever you're feeling that maybe you're not getting the work that the mixers that you respect are getting, take a step back, focus on the work that you're doing. And if you don't have work at the moment, then invest a lot of time in listening. Listening to records, listening to things you like, pulling up old sessions and going through and experimenting instead of pulling up that next tutorial or believing that you're going to find that next magic trick that is the thing that's been holding you back this entire time. And believe me, I'm a person who suffers from that to the highest level, where I feel like the next item I learn, the next piece of information that I absorb is going to be the thing that finally allows me to sit back, exhale, and enjoy the sound of my own mixes. The next issue is trying to fix rather than understand. What's the expression? If you have a hammer, then everything you see is a nail. If all we're learning on YouTube or wherever we're studying or, however we, think in terms of our mentality with the way that we utilize our processing is to constantly be fixing, we might not be taking time to stop, pause, and ask the right questions. We see it as a badge of honor that we've, added 60, 70 plugins to a session when you listen to engineers like Michael Brower say that his job or his goal is to only move the mix, the rough mix he receives, another 5 or 10%. Think about that and let that percentage settle in, and think about how most of us approach how we're trying to improve the mixes that we're working on. We're not looking for that 5 or 10%. We're not stopping and saying, as an engineer, am I taking this music, these raw materials that I've been sent as far as they can go? Or am I trying to now push them past that into the land of becoming something that maybe they're not meant to be? And that could be something that is because of the performance, the production, the arrangement, or unfortunately just simply the talent level of the artist that we're working on. Our job should be to take the music that we've been given as far as it can go. And we get there faster by asking questions rather than just trying to fix everything we hear. Set your intention, ask the right questions, and do not view massive amounts of processing or days or weeks slaving over a mix as a sign of a badge of honor, but rather that we could be moving in the wrong direction. So what I want to conclude our talk on today is to first and foremost tell you that you are good enough and you possess all the skills right now that you need. The biggest thing holding me back for years was believing that I had to be deemed worthy. This to me was the biggest anchor. And once I started understanding that it's not a badge of honor to apply every plugin or every trick I know to a mix, to do 65 different revisions before I send it to a client, to try to fix every little thing instead of slowing down and asking myself questions, and instead of trying to use the mix as a proving ground for myself as an engineer and step back and just focus and put all my intention, all my ego, all of my creativity on the song itself, and then pulling out from my tool bag what I needed to help bring that song to life, that is when I really felt like I could exhale. It's when I really felt like I love having discussions with other engineers about my process or the way that I view mixing. And really, it was what really helped me fall in love with this. So that is my wish for all of you in this upcoming new year, to take time to reflect and to understand that 99% of what we're doing is mental, is the way that we treat ourselves, is the way that we view our work, and it's the way that we can inject our unique personality into what it is that we do. So I hope you all have a very safe and happy holiday season, and I will see you on the flip side of the new year. Take care, my friends.